Okay, this is weird. Hi, hello, welcome back. Yeah, I kind of went away for a little bit there. A lot has happened and I'll quickly update you before we get into this video. So basically, 2 months ago, I quit my job. Didn't do much for the 2 months. I think I have stopped filming for about a month now. And within that month, me and my husband actually started our own business. So we have been very busy putting all of our time, attention, care, and love into that business. And I had a lapse in creativity because of all of my energy was going into the business. And yeah, so I haven't filmed anything. I've been exhausted. Yeah, we've been crazy busy. It's crazy how true, like, doing something that you love never feels like work. I've definitely noticed that, but also we are working so much more. You know, we went from having jobs where we're wanting to not work particular hours and not wanting to work weekends to now working like 10-hour days, 6 days a week. So life has been a bit crazy. So that is a little update into my life and where I have been and why I have not posted anything in over a month now. So I apologize that I've left you, but you know what? Not much has happened since I last spoke to you anyway. The last video I filmed, I believe, was I was in a reading slump and I was trying to get out of it. However, I fell back into that reading slump and still haven't read much. I am currently reading a book at the moment, which I'll talk about later, and I'm really enjoying that book and I'm powering through it. So yeah. So although not much has changed, a lot has also changed, but I'm excited to get back into it. Now, a few months ago, I did a reading recap of January, February, and March. This is going to be a reading recap of April, May, and a little bit of June. And I will talk about my hopefuls in June as well, because there's like 2 more weekends left in June. So yeah, I thought I just may as well catch you up on all of the books that I have read. Got my little journal here so I can figure out what books I read in April. April was a fantastic month. In April, so many books were released and they were all my favorite books and parts of series that I'm reading at the moment. So April was a great month, and that was the month before my reading slump because that was the month where all of the good books came out and then I had nothing else to read. So yeah. Okay, so in April, now some of these I don't have the physical copy, I just read them on my Kindle. The first book that I picked up in April was Tangled Up in You by Christina Lauren. This book has been out for a little while now, but I could not find it anywhere. It took me forever to find it, and I was on a cute little date with one of my friends in the city, and I found it in the big Melbourne Dimmicks. Now, this Tangled Up in You book is a little play on Tangled, the movie. So you have this girl, I can't remember her name, but our female MC is kind of kept locked away. She lives on this farm. She always works on this farm. It's away from everything. She doesn't have a phone, no technology. She's not used to the world at all. And she kind of promises her parents that if she is allowed to go to college and study what she wants to study, that she will be a good girl and get her grades up and all of that. Parents are like, fine, whatever, but you have to come back to the house every weekend. She goes to college. She ends up meeting some amazing people. She ends up meeting this really cute guy as well, our little Flynn Rider in this situation. In one of her classes, she finds out some vital piece of information that she might be a missing child to somebody. So Eugene and her wag some of the classes mid-semester. She tells her parents that she is really busy cramming for exams and it would just be easier if she stayed on campus. So her and Eugene jump in the car. He has to go visit some people anyway. So he was like, well, I'm going to like Kentucky, I think it is. I'm going to Kentucky anyway, so sure, whatever, you may as well come with me. So they go on this little car trip and he figures out some information. She also figures out some information and they both start to get feelings for each other because they've been spending so much time with each other and start realizing how similar they actually are. Anyway, this book for me was a 3-star. I enjoyed it. It was a little bit spicy. There's definitely some spicy scenes in there, but it also, the turn was good. I liked the turn, but I think that it missed out some information that like Tangled actually has. Now, I understand that it is inspired by Tangled. It's not actually the Tangled story, but I still think that I would have liked them to add a little bit more to that story. The next read was, I think, like my second, possibly my second or my first 5-star read of 2025, which is extremely sad that it's my first one of the year. Like, I haven't had anything that has topped it yet. I might have earlier on in the year, I can't remember, but yeah, nothing has quite topped this book yet, and that is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, which, do I have it? Yes, I do. It is here. Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. Oh my gosh, this book was amazing. I know I have ranted about it in my books and baking video, so if you want to hear a detailed description of that book, make sure you go watch that video if you want more information on this book. But this book made me laugh, cry. I was so heartfelt in this book. I loved every single bit of this book. I felt every single emotion, and it was such a good little romance book as well. I did think that our characters fell in love too fast. That is the only thing that I will say negatively about this book. Otherwise, I loved it. It is quite a sad story. Many things in it are a little bit sad. But for me, it was okay. I actually loved this book so much because it talked about love and about life and how important both love and life is to just living. And I feel like it described love and life so beautifully and what it truly is. So yeah, this book was really cute. It is a romance book, and as I said, it was a 5-star read for me. The next book came in a very close second to 5-star at a whopping 4-star. We have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. Yeah, so this book was great. Don't get me wrong. I am obsessed with this series. I love this series. It wrapped everything up in a neat, tidy little bow. There is another novella coming, so the series is not quite done yet. I think she said, when is it coming out? September, I think it was. Anyway, she just released the date for that. So I think it's called Fearful, and I'm very excited about it. It also was so cool because there were so many different twists to things, and a lot of things started making sense. So I loved that, but it was kind of like everything was just trying to finish off the story. So yeah, it was a good ending to the series. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the ending. Everyone found their place in this world and where they should be. And I did like that, but I think that it was also felt kind of rushed in certain things. Hayden needs to go through a few more trials for something, and I kind of wanted the trials to last a bit longer. I did talk to somebody about this, and she was like, yeah, but the trials already happened in the other 2 books, so did they really need to be that longer? But she just like won everything so easily, and I would have liked some more detail and description about those particular trials than her just being like, oh yeah, cool, killed that person, they're done, and that was it. But regardless, it was a 4-star for me. The next book is a little bit bittersweet as well, as it is the last book in a series, and that is Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This book was good. I did like this book. It is a 3-star for me because 3-star is just that average rating for most romance books, because I like a romance book, so it's not going to be like a 2 and a 2.5 star unless I really didn't enjoy it. But Wild and Wrangled is pretty average for me. It has some spicy scenes in there. We get a nice romance story. Things make sense. All of that stuff. And I liked the storyline. This followed 2 of our characters that are just destined for each other. And I loved how it kind of went back and forth into what they were like as teenagers and what they were like now. I really did like that element to this story. Yeah, and I love these characters. I think they were definitely my favorite out of the whole series. I definitely will say that. This book was pretty darn cute and was sitting at a 3-star. And if you haven't read like the Done and Dusted series and you love romance and you love cowboys and you love country things, then you need to read it. The 5th book that I read in April was Summer in the City by Alex Astor, who is the author of the Lightlark series. I can't wait for the next book to come out, let me just tell you. Okay, anyway, whatever. She decided to write a cutie little romance book based in New York, and it was kind of fun. I put it at a 3.5-star rating because our screenwriter Al ends up going to New York to write a movie. and then she meets this guy that she met ages ago. I think it was at like a New Year's Eve party. She met him, they shared a kiss, she realized, oh my gosh, he's a douchebag, and then left. And then all of a sudden, a few years later, actually, she's in New York to write this movie. So they accidentally run into each other, and so she knows who he is, but she's not quite sure if he remembers her. Anyway, they form a bond. He ends up helping her writing her story, because she was like, she's like, I really need some help with learning all the spots in New York. It's also like a fake dating thing. So maybe if we start fake dating, that would be really good for my movie. It would also be really good for him. Turns out he's like some famous tech billionaire guy, so everybody knows who he is. So he's kind of like, yeah, no worries. I'm happy to fake date because I need these people to get off my back. Anyway, you know the drill with fake dating romances, but I liked it because it was short and sweet. Like, look how thin that is. Nice, short and sweet, cutie little romance. Yeah, fake dating is not my favorite trope. It is probably my least favorite trope, but I enjoyed this, and I enjoyed adventuring through New York. I've never been to New York, and I've always wanted to go to New York. That's probably the only place in America that I would go is New York, just because I'd love to experience it. So I do love going on a little adventure in my mind to another country. So that was fun. Okay, I think it's getting a little bit dark now. I might have to put my other light on, but this is the only time of day I can film. Now that I work so much, I'm filming in like twilight. So I apologize. I'll see if I can change this color. Hopefully I can. The sixth and final book that I read in April was the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. It's a very long title, and this is the fourth book in this Dream Harbor series. I love this series. It's such a cute, cozy romance series. I love all of our characters. I want to be friends with all of them. I want to visit Dream Harbor. Majority of the books in this have been 5-star for me, to be honest, because I love the little town that they live in, and I want to be a part of it. Anyway, this unfortunately was not 5-star for me. It was sitting at a 3-star for me. It was a little bit spicy and a little bit meh compared to the other books in the series, but regardless, it was still good. So we have Archer, our male main character, who's come from Paris. He's a really good chef. He's come from Paris down to Dream Harbor to take care of his daughter, because unfortunately the mum died. Yeah, not his partner though. They just had a kid together. So unfortunately, he now needs to work in a diner, which he hates. And he wants to make all of these twists and changes to the diner and the diner's menu to make it better, but everyone hates the changes that he's making. So this one particularly is about strawberry pancakes, and pancakes in particular, because he changed the pancake recipe to make it better and everybody hates it. So yeah, so then he ends up doing like a fun little take on making pancakes for the town. But that's a cute thing, and I don't want to spoil it. So then we have Iris, who is in need of some more work because she can't pay her rent and all of this stuff. And conveniently, Archer needs a babysitter because he can't work full time and take care of his kid. So Iris gets to Archer and says, hey, I can babysit, no worries. And he goes, no worries, I need a live-in nanny. So that covers her rent for her. So now she's a live-in nanny, and Archer's there, and they're spending so much time together, and she's looking after his kid, and it's a beautiful, cutie little romance story. It is a 3-star for me, as it is quite an average storyline. Not much changes. The drama in this isn't that dramatic. If they just communicated better, it would be fine. Anyway, that is my take. But it's a cute little romance book. If you haven't picked up the Dream Harbor series, you need to, because I love it. So I'm out here telling you that I had a reading slump in May when I in fact read 5 books in May. So, you know, whatever. It felt like a reading slump, let me tell you that much. The first book that I picked up in May was Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Not happy with this one, to be honest with you. It is probably the last on my Emily Henry list, unfortunately. I didn't like this because it felt more like a general fiction than a romance book. And I feel like Emily Henry does romance so well. And unfortunately, it just strayed from that. Like, yes, there are romantic elements to this story, but I did not like it. So this follows two characters who are authors, and they have come to write a story about this particular famous woman, and she is very old, and she has told them that, okay, I will tell you both stories, so half the week I will work with her and half the week I will work with him, and I will tell you both my life story, and then you both have to write it, and whichever one I like best will be the one that writes my story, basically. Both of our main characters fight over this. They obviously spend a lot more time together, and they also spend a lot more time in the town. So there are romantic elements to them and their story. But it also follows the old lady, and we read a lot of her life story as well. And honestly, I just didn't care. And I didn't understand why we should care about her. Alice is our female main character, and she is invested in this particular lady's life because her how do I explain this? So Iris's dad loved the singer that was then married to this lady called Margaret. Yeah, who's married to this lady named Margaret. So I'm like, why do we care about this lady? Because I don't care about this old lady and her life. Like, sure, it was interesting to see how she got there, but it was very Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, very much like that. But yeah, I just didn't care that much for it, and it was like a 1.5 star for me, unfortunately. The next one that I picked up is the Emily Wilde's book. This is the last one in the trilogy. I thought it was a good little cute recap. These books don't do much for me. They are not a 5-star read series for me at all. It is just a really cute, cozy fantasy series, and I like going along with them on their little adventure to find fairies, and in the fairy kingdom that they go to. It is quite cute. It does remind me of Tinkerbell a lot of the time, so I don't know. It's quite a cute little adventure, but yeah, doesn't do much for me. I just like to read it because it's a cozy fantasy, so probably like a 2-star for me. The next book that I read was in fact Assassin's Blade, which is up here somewhere. Yeah, because I was like, oh, no worries, I'm gonna read the next one in the series. I read Empire of Storms. Like, I've read Queen of Shadows, now it's Empire of Storms. I'm halfway through that book, and I'm like, what is happening right now? Because I don't understand. There's some pirate guy, there's this other guy named Jack, I think his name is. And I'm like, I don't know who these people are. Like, where did they come from? I'm literally halfway through that book, and I'm like, none of this is making sense to me. Don't know why, because I didn't read Queen of Shadows that long ago. Like, I read it in January now, I think. But I was like, surely I didn't read that long ago that I can be this confused about everything in this story. Anyway, so I did my digging, and I was like, I swear I read the Assassin's Blade. Like, I swear I read that second. Like, I read Throne of Glass and Assassin's Blade. And then I look at the blurb of Assassin's Blade, and I'm like, no, I didn't read it. So I read Assassin's Blade. Yeah, that was good. I liked it. I liked that there's like multiple stories within the one book. I like the characters that we were introduced to, and we got to learn a lot more about Selena's life before she was imprisoned. And yeah, I thought that was really cool and really interesting. And yeah, we got to meet the characters who were so important in her life before we start reading Throne of Glass, basically. I think if I were to read Throne of Glass again, I would definitely read Assassin's Blade first before reading Throne of Glass. That's just my personal opinion, but I am so excited to get into Empire of Storms. That's for sure. I have to restart it, obviously. I can't just pick up where I left off, but I'm excited for it. So the fourth book that I read was also part of a series that I didn't know was going to be a series. I have talked a lot about Dishonestly Yours. That book was great. 5-star read for me. I loved that book. I loved the style of the book. Loved everything about it. Didn't know it was going to be part of a series though. So yeah, the next book came out called Destructively Mine, I believe. And this followed on and continued on with the story about how, like, I can't give too much away, but the kids in this, like, say kids, they're like in their 20s. The youngest one is like 18. Anyway, The kids in this particular book find out some very important information at the end of Dishonestly Yours. They find out some very vital, important information. So Destructively Mine then goes into all of that information. They then work with one of the boyfriends of the girl that she's kind of fake dating. It's very confusing if you haven't read Dishonestly Yours, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't read it. Anyway, great book, great series. I love it. However, Destructively Yours, Destructively Mine, whatever it's called. Now I'm confused. Destructively Mine was just way too spicy for me. It didn't have that much spice in Dishonestly Yours, because it was like tension and a build up to this particular relationship, but in Destructively Mine it was already formed, so that was a bit too much for me and a bit too spicy, hence why it got brought down to 4 stars instead of 5 stars. But anyway, I really like that series. If you like con artist or mafia type things, then you would like this series. The last book that I read for May was actually a non-fiction book called What's Your Dream by Simon Squibb. Yeah. He's on Instagram. You probably have seen him. If you haven't, now it'll come up. And he asks people, what's your dream? And then they tell him. In this book, he dives into trying to help you figure out what your dream is in life and how to make that dream a reality, and also how to get money from your dream, basically. I found it really good, but for me, I already have a dream, so I don't think that I needed that. But I already have a dream, I'm already working on that dream, and now it's just a matter of making it and turning it into my life and to get money from it. Anyway, but in saying that, I did just start a business. So yeah, that has always been my dream, in having my own business and doing my own thing and being my own boss. So not saying that I read that book and then magically I got my own business, but it does talk a lot about business within that book as well. Now we hit June, which is the current month we are in. The first book that I read I've read one, I'm currently reading one, and then I'll talk to you about the June hopefuls that I have. So the first book that I read was a reread, and it was actually on last month's TBR. So I decided to read that one, which is called While You Were Reading. It is a book based in Melbourne, actually, which is where I live. She talks about Perth and a few other places that I've been to in Victoria, which is really cool. It is a fun, cute little romance book. So basically she moves, I think she's from Perth. So she moves from Perth to Melbourne to be closer to her sister, but also to start a bit of a new life after she has a really hard time with her friend and has to break some unfortunate news to her friend. Her friend then hates her. She's like, you know what, I'm getting out of here and I'm moving to Melbourne. And then she goes to this bookshop, and at the bookshop she picks up this annotated book, and she falls in love with the annotations, and she starts a bookstagram surrounded by those annotations and trying to find who wrote them. Then she meets this guy who's like, oh my gosh, I wrote the annotations, and then we go on a whole journey with that. So it is a fun little romance book. So if you live in Melbourne or you would like to visit Melbourne, it's kind of a fun book to read in order to know some spots in Melbourne, and maybe you could visit them too. So I have read that book once before. I actually read it, I bought it in an airport and read it on a plane, and I read that so quickly, and I love that book. At the time, it was definitely a 5-star read for me. Reading it now, it's probably like a 3-star. Now moving on to the last section of this video. So the current book that I am reading, I will talk to you about in a moment. So the church that I go to is in this public building, and within that building they have a little library in it, which is like a borrow or swap little library. Anyway, each Sunday I always check the books there, because sometimes they have really, really good books, and I never find them again, so I have to get them then and there, or else they will be gone like the next day. Anyway, and I managed to pick up 3 amazing books. The first one is this one, which is Cruel is the Light. I have seen this everywhere. You probably have seen it as well. It is about demons and about, what's it called? Exorcists and stuff like that. I did read these are new, by the way, like have not been used type books. You can see like where I've read up to in regards to like here. But the rest of the book, like how new that is. Like no one's touched these books. Anyway, I read up to there and it was just, I was not enjoying it. Everything, each chapter after each chapter was the exact same thing and I was just not enjoying it. But I'm sure if you like demons and that kind of stuff, you will enjoy this. It is based in Europe, particularly in Rome, because they talk a lot about the Vatican. And it is a romantasy book as well. So if you like romantasy, I'm sure you will like this, but it was just not for me. I DNF'd that and then picked up this book, which is The Neverlist, and I am kind of obsessed with it. 4 princes, and each year, it sounds like each year or each few years that they have something called the choosing, where they are to choose a mate. So each one of them have a turn in choosing a mate, but the mate has to be compatible for all 4 of them. Okay, this is where it kind of gets weird because she has to be also with all 4 of them. So it's a little weird because it's this one girl with 4 guys. Anyway, but that's not the thing that I like. I just find this really interesting. Now, Riley Gray is our female MC. Her sister got chosen one year and then all of a sudden vanished. She never got to see her sister again. She went to the choosing and then all of a sudden disappeared, basically. So Riley is not actually part of this, not kingdom, but like there's hierarchies in the kingdom and she's down the bottom. So she's actually technically not supposed to be at the choosing at all, but she forges a invitation, which is what I believe they did for her sister. So she forges an invitation and she goes to this ball and she doesn't realize, she just wants to find out some vital information as to where her sister might be. Anyway, she gets caught out and one of the princes is actually there. It's a masked ball. He ends up choosing her to be the mate. So then she goes and she has to be with these 4 men, these 4 princes, and each of them have a different kind of realm or a different kingdom because they all like different things. This is all very interesting and very new to me. So let me just read the back to you. So it says, 5 women have tried, 5 have failed, and tonight in the royal city, the princes need to find their chosen and hope she can survive the transformation that will make her immortal. Only Riley Gray wasn't supposed to be here. She snuck in for her own dark reasons, and now they claim they've found their perfect match, her. Of course, they have no idea she's concealing a secret big enough to damn them all. The 4 princes have no choice. They'll use every delectable wicked skill they have to make Riley fall for all 4 of them or watch their kingdom collapse. So there is a goddess in here. There's powers and people that are supposed to not have powers, and there's different hierarchies and all of that kind of stuff in this kingdom. I am almost halfway through this book and I am enjoying it. This is a really good book. So I will probably have to let you know how that goes in another video. Okay, now for June hopefuls, I also picked up this book. So I picked up all 3 of these books at that same little library. This one is called Modern Divination. This one also sounds really good. Yeah, we have 23-year-old witch, Aurelia, has always had to carefully balance her human life with her secret magical one, with a place at an elite Cambridge college. Sweet. She almost has everything she could possibly want within her grasp, just so long as she follows the rules. Make no promises, tell no one what you are, and never stay the night. Except Aurelia's gift of green magic has begun to fade. Worse still, someone is hunting witches and stealing their powers. Reluctantly, Aurelia needs the help of a fellow witch and dreadfully arrogant classmate, Teddy. So another little romantasy, possibly. Together they seek refuge among his family in the remote corners of an already desolate town, but as she grows closer to Teddy, the power-hungry witch killer draws near too, and they threaten to destroy everything Aurelia holds dear. So that sounds really fun. Sounds like another romantasy. These are all romantasy books, so I definitely want to read this one. I have DNF'd this one, and then we are currently reading The Neverlist. So this is on my June hopeful as well, and then the last one on my June hopeful also came out in April, but I didn't end up reading it. I really would like to read The King of Envy, which is the next one in the King of Sin series. I really enjoy this King of Sin series, so that is the next book that I want to pick up after I read these ones would be The King of Envy. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching. If you're here and you've made it this far, I hope that I have shed some light on some books for you. I hope that you pick up some of these books. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week for a books and baking video. Bye.